listening, pay attention.
You're looking for capitals?
Christchurch Primary School, Clapham Junction, South London.
This one squelches when it walks.
The aliens are coming.
They've boldly been where we've not been. They're blue and purple, thickly green. Some have teeth.
Liz Pope's an experienced teacher who enjoys teaching Year 2,
And some.
especially from the front.
Some have, help! I want my mummy! The aliens are coming. And I want you to imagine that you are now explaining to this alien, Patrick, exactly what he needs to do when he goes into lunch.
When it comes down, the pipe which leads to your tummy makes...
But she'd like the children to retain their early years' independence and rely less on their teacher for guidance. John Bailey's hoping to offer her some advice.
Do not eat eyeballs. Excellent. Right, what else would you say would be good advice for this alien? Raquel?
We eat with knives and forks.
Excellent, thank you very much. So, eat with a knife and fork. Yes. What words do we use to make sentences longer and more interesting? Stefan?
Adjective.
Adjective. So I could put in an adjective there. So eat with a, I'll just put that in there, a clean knife and fork. Brilliant, that's giving some more information. What else could I do to make this sentence longer? I can use other words apart from adjectives.
Because you might make lots of mess.
Because it could make a mess. That's a great sentence and a lot more interesting.
They're really engaged, they're with you. Yeah, you've got them into the room, they're on the mat, they really enjoy that monster story. Mm-hmm. Secondly, I really appreciate the way you're reading a bit and then putting in breaks for question and answer, so that you're changing sort of modality all the time. I also want you to notice you. I think you look terribly relaxed and happy here.
And the rest of you, make sure what you'd like to start with. Do you want to pass the fruit over? We don't want that in the way. Pass the fruit.
The test comes when Liz sends the children off to work by themselves, whilst she concentrates on developing individual literacy skills.
Number 1.
You make a start with yours, making your sentences as long as you can with connectives and adjectives in there. Yeah?
I think I can make a sentence, the whole sheet.
I probably wouldn't do it that long.
I like this colour.
Liz and the children have already worked out a set of behavioural guidelines for individualised learning.
I love the colour picture.
Of course you may. Wow, Tia, can I just say, you are working so quietly over there, and I know that's your second job already today, so good for you. Emma, you look lost. Are you looking for somewhere to go? Why don't you go on that table? Agnes knows exactly what she's doing, so ask her if you need a reminder, OK?
That was great. That's that positive, that's that out loud positive reminder, isn't it? You could see them drifting off task over there. So you looked across and said how well, how well that group as a whole was doing. And I just want to draw your attention to that. What do we call that? We call that positive scanning.
Where's the word?
By my count, you did that twice in the morning. You should probably do it about 5 or 6 times more per hour than you do.
Parts in there. Yes? Or you can go this way. Yeah, like how is that?
I would usually intervene.
Oh, that's not yours. Well, that's £4.
Ian Ferramy, can you two come here a sec? Come round here. I just wanted to explain to just making sure that you understand what you're doing over there. Is the calculator being a bit distracting to you?
No, we need the calculator because here bought all the things.
Okay, but what I asked you to do, I didn't probably make this clear. I just want you to buy one thing at a time. Okay, so you just buy one thing and then you give the money to the person, and then when you've done that, you swap over, okay?
Listen, tell me to drop dead if I'm being wrong about this. But what I notice is you look to me as though you were a bit more stressed during that independent time than you were when you were doing the stuff from the front. I said to you stressed, and you said no. But I noticed your colour was a bit higher, and I thought, I wonder, are there control issues here?
I would agree, actually. I mean, Some of them are like the other side of the classroom. You can't really come over and be that calming influence on them. You have to do it more with your voice. And I don't know. I do stay on that table. I don't get up very often because I just feel that it is quite good to sit and focus with children and push them on as much as you can. Do not slobber.
You see, I think we might have two targets. One target is to make you feel confident and happy, and the other is to make sure that they're fully engaged. I mean, we're talking degrees here.
Yeah.
I don't want to suggest you go to pieces because far from it. This is kind of what's interesting about this is I think it's an exemplary lesson. I sat down next to a little boy, Leslie, and he was on task, but he hadn't quite got it because he was using the number line to count on. But he was talking faster than he was counting on, so he was saying it, but his hand and mouth weren't in sync. Yeah. So he kept on saying one thing, but his hand kept arriving in the wrong place. So what do you got here? 38 plus 5 plus 3, is that right? For me, it came to the real heart of the issue, because I thought, I bet Liz is sitting over there. One of the reasons why I think she might be feeling a bit anxious is the child might be sitting over here doing this, and she's thinking, oh, you know, someone should be there to rescue him or teach him.
Yeah.
People eat them. People will...
If we're worried about this independent work, we probably need to sharpen up the activity directions a bit. First of all, you define the behaviour that you want, so you're absolutely clear about it, so you can explain it absolutely clearly. And then you define the antecedents for it, what commands and instructions and signals you're going to give to get people to start it. And then you make sure that when that behaviour is in place, it gets positive consequences.
You're saying be a bit more specific, so like after every 5 minutes you must have...
It may not just be heads down and quiet voice. We may want them to do some more specific things like pause every 5 minutes to show your neighbour your work and get your neighbour to make a constructive remark about it. We might even want to do something like breaks when we say, has anybody given anybody a constructive appraisal of their work?
Write it with pencil, not with the pastel. Pardon? Well done, Reese and Stefan. I can hear you working on that. When we're doing like group discussions, we very much give each child a role. So one child would just have the role of being the encourager. The other child was like the manager who had to make sure everyone stayed on task. And I'm just thinking, I mean, out loud really, is just thinking, could we maybe extend that and have per session a manager, an encourager, or something else that they're maybe used to, and actually just giving the child a job on top of what they're doing.
Well, that's genius, isn't it? And it's double genius because it's translating what we already know from one area to another.
Yeah.
And I like it too because there's a kind of dialectic here, isn't there? That you give them a lot of structure in order to be independent.
Yeah.
And it's only once they've got all that gear that you can then sit and relax back there, knowing that they're
they're getting on. Yeah.
That they're in battle formation.
Two days later, and Liz is about to try out her new plan. She's going to give the children specific jobs of manager, encourager and explainer to support each other's learning.
And what would we be looking for to see if an encourager did their job really well? Agnes?
Your work is very good. I like your hard work and I like you thinking so hard.
Excellent. Saying really kind things and nice things when people are working hard, making sure you tell them. What else would an encourager do? Babuti?
They tell people if they're being kind.
Excellent. They spot people... Pardon?
And doing hard work.
Excellent. They spot people being kind, just put it in the bin, and doing hard work. I was wondering if someone can explain what this job does. What do these people do if they're in this job? Tyler?
When the volume's getting too loud, you have to tell them, can you lower it down a bit?
Excellent, lower it down a bit. And what else would these people do? If they were managers, what would they do? Patrick?
If people stop working, they can tell them to, would you please start working again?
Excellent.
I have peanut butter and jam on my toast this morning.
Oi! Oi! You need to use quiet voices! Autumn. Is that what I do if I'm the manager? What do you do, Agnes?
You say, please, Autumn, use a quiet voice. It'll be
Excellent.
much more better. Because if you say oi, oi 2 times, they won't listen. They'll feel a bit sad.
They would. They'd probably think, who are you talking to me like that? So if I said to you, please, can you use a quiet voice, Autumn, would you listen to me if I said that? Yeah. You would. Excellent. Thank you, you two. Will you sit down? And an explainer. Now, I needed someone to explain the table on the back because I didn't actually explain that very well. Chisholm, you can come over and be an explainer for that job. So if anyone gets stuck and thinks, I don't know what to do on that table over there, they need to find Chisholm and she will explain it to you. Patrick, you can have a go at being an encourager. You say nice things quite a lot. Well, that's a good start. There you are, you can be an encourager there. And the last manager, Jonathan. Whoops. Right, I'm looking for people who are doing their jobs really nicely.
And then you have to put them in groups, like O and Y and O and I, and CH and CT.
Thank you, Lena, and you're doing really good in your work.
Even though the children are engaged in a wide range of activities, they seem to adapt to their new roles.
Loving it. And you're doing really good as well.
Looking for people who are encouraging and explaining their jobs. Well done, Chisholm. I see you explaining that to Fakas. That's really helpful.
Thank you for getting on with work.
Chisholm explained it to you. Well, I think you should go over to Chisholm in a second and say to her, thank you very much. That's really good, Fakas, that you could explain exactly what you did. And what about these ones down here? Do you know what you did here? O-N words. And what about these ones? This one here. Well done. And look what it's got. It's got an O-I. So where would that belong? Excellent in that one. So we could draw. Do you want to draw an arrow over there so I know you want to move it? Well done, though. That is really good, Fakas. Please do, yeah, if you want to. Yep. I'm sorry, I can't do much about it. Just really drink lots of water. It's probably because it's very hot. How are you doing? You finished yet?
Yeah, it was wild. Better than anything I could have imagined.
Yeah, I know one thing I thought was really good as well, actually, is especially with the little boy who I got to explain at the end, he's actually someone who has English as additional language, and he struggles with kind of understanding things. So he kind of needs things re-explained. So I kind of thought it was quite good that he was then able to not just do the activity with someone helping them, but actually to then explain to me what he did, which I found was quite good, because sometimes he does worry me that, you know, has he actually understand what he's doing?
You know, we were talking the other day about your study rules. How can we make sure everyone can learn? You can see what they could be like in just 4 or 5 weeks' time. Couldn't you? Getting back suggestions from them.
No, definitely.